back to the Shoe Enthusiast channel. I'm going to start this new series where I'm going through the terminology of shoes. The best way to make buying decisions about shoes is to know what you want to ask for and to know what each part of a shoe is, what it represents, and what it does. When I first started going onto the forums to get information about shoes, people kept talking about their vamps and their insteps and their toe caps and their quarters and all these things, and then they went on for pages about the welts, and I had no idea what they were talking about. But it is important to know, once you start getting into more high-end dress shoes, what each part of the shoe is, what it represents, and knowing what to ask about. So I'm going to go in and teach you some of the more common words associated with the shoe, and with this in this video we're going to go into the anatomy of a shoe. What are the different parts of a shoe called? So we're going to start with general terms here. So we're going to start here. This entire part here, this whole top part of the shoe, is called an upper. So when anybody talks about the upper of a shoe, the upper is this entire area. But the upper is broken up into different parts. So the upper here, this is a Carmina shoe that's actually made out of shell cordovan leather. In a future video, we're going to go through what all these different leather words mean, so don't worry about it right now. But let's start from here, and we'll go back to here, and I will show you what each part of the shoe and what it's called. So from here to here, this is called the toe cap. The toe cap, there's usually a piece of leather here, or stitching, goes from around right here to the top of the shoe. This is the toe cap. Now the vamp is this next part here. This is called the vamp. The vamp's actually quite important because this is actually where most of your foot hits in a shoe. And move on to the part where the laces are. These here are called the eyelets. This shoe has 1, 2, 3, 4, and look at there, that's 5. 5 eyelets. This is pretty typical on a shoe. The eyelets is what the laces go through. Sometimes the eyelets will have metal around it or something like that to protect it, but we will talk about what those are called in other videos. These are called the eyelets. Now this part here, this is the tongue. The tongue is what you adjust. It goes right up against your foot here. Now back here, this is called the quarter. So you have the toe cap, the vamp, the quarter. Now I chose this shoe in particular to illustrate this because you can see clearly that this is a separate piece of leather. For this particular type of shoe, this is the way it's made, but sometimes they will have one piece of leather running around. But this is still the quarter, this last part that goes from here to here towards the heel. This is called the quarter. Now of course here, this is called the heel. So now this is the upper, the whole top part of the shoe. So this is the upper. So what is at the bottom? Well, let's talk about first, what is the thing that connects? What connects the top to the bottom of the shoe? Now the bottom of the shoe, here, this is called the sole. Now a sole could be made of leather, rubber, here. This is what touches the ground. This is the sole. This one is made out of GR Redenbach leather. It's a tough leather. It's good against the rain, but it's good against the elements here. But many other soles are made it could be made of many different things. For those more wet climates, they might prefer rubber. But this whole part here is called the sole. Of course, this here is the heel. So if we look here at the heel, which you can see here, this heel is made out of stacked leather, different pieces of leather. And you can see there's a piece of rubber right here that's touching the ground. This is called the top piece. This is only a quarter of it here. Sometimes it surrounds the whole thing. This is going to be the part that touches the ground. The other piece of leather is the top piece. So the question we have is, what puts the sole and the upper together? That will be the more complicated thing that we will go into in many future videos. That is called the welt. So here, you can see here, if you look all around here, you can see stitching. And maybe a little piece of rubber there. This is called the welt. This is an indication of a higher end dress shoe. The lower end will not have any kind of stitching here because they're cemented on. This means they were stitched on, which means if something were to happen to your sole, you would be able to get a new sole put on. But in this case, this shoe, if you look here, it goes from here all the way around. This is called a 270 welt, where it is put all around here, and then there's and the heel is nailed on. So, these are the most common terms you will hear when people talk about shoes, about higher end dress shoes. If you let's get a kind of review in again. Once again, this whole thing is called the upper. This piece here is called the toe cap. This here, the vamp. These are called, this is the vamp. These are your eyelets, tongue, quarter. Down here is the insole. This is your welt, heel, sole, top piece. I hope you found this educational. If you have, please subscribe and like the channel. There'll be many more videos. You'll see more videos where we will talk about the terminology related to shoes and the words that you will need when you are going to buy shoes or when you're trying to determine the quality of a dress shoe.